Welcome back. We're going into the next chapter, which is Bexhill. What do we got to do? We've looked at the letter.
Dear Mr. Poirot, well, what do you think? I believe that I won this round. The end of our affair went
Notice
like clockwork, don't you feel?
eyes are
But the
all
fun has only
capitalised
just
and
started.
bolded.
I would like to draw your attention to Bexhill on Sea
I suspect
on the
it's
25th of this
intended
month.
to
We're having a
underline
crazy
how
time.
self-centered he is.
Best wishes, ABC.
Alright, so we have... There was something. I moused over. Calendar. Yep, we know about those. Compare the new letter to the first one.
Let us examine this more closely.
So he's got the eyes.
Certain characters in the two letters may have similar defects.
So the A's are...
Yes, the A appears to be quite unusual. Yes, this I is weird.
He's double typing the eyes.
Yes, the I characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects to confirm my theory.
We have the A.
Yes, the A appears to be quite unusual. That's right. The A characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects.
And
I have to find some other similar defects to confirm my theory.
Yep, so we have the W.
The W is not printed properly. Of course, the W characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. My theory was right. These two letters were written with the same typewriter.
Okay, we have proof that.
Both letters were written on the same typewriter and show the same characteristics.
You surprise me, Poirot. You usually ignore material proof.
But there is nothing usual about this case, Hastings. Nothing must be overlooked. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
All right. Yep, that's correct. In fact, I believe both their first and their last name starts with a B.
So, Poirot, have you found something?
Oui, I believe so. But I am afraid it is not enough to stop the murderer. Let us go and see Chief Inspector Chap. I will explain there.
I keep thinking that this on the note on the sofa is important, but it won't let me pick it up. Let's catch a cab to the police station.
To Scotland Yard, please.
Okay, here's Scotland Yard, not CID. I couldn't remember which. So CID is Criminal Investigation Division, which is part of the Met, whereas Scotland Yard is a specific investigatory organisation that is countrywide.
Jap appears to be snowed under. Jap appears to already be overloaded with work. My news is not going to improve matters.
The anatomy on these is very odd, the way they move.
Bonjour, Chief Inspector. I am afraid we have some bad news. I have just received another letter signed ABC. The next crime will be on the 25th in Bexhill-on-Sea.
Are you completely sure it's from the same person?
I have compared the two letters. There is no doubt about it.
I suppose you think he's going to carry out his threats.
I fear so.
Good God, Poirot. Bexhill is very busy at this time of year, and we have no idea who the next victim will be.
I suspect that the name of the second victim will start with B.
What on earth makes you think such a thing?
I thought about it when I saw the name Asher clearly written over the shop door of the unfortunate woman who was murdered in Andover last month. When I received a letter mentioning Bexhill, I deduced that the victim, like the town, might have been chosen by alphabetical order.
So it's an alphabet fiend. I'm going to have a list drawn up of all the people whose name starts with B. I hope there aren't too many of them.
There will be
We
many.
should leave you to work, Chief Inspector.
There will
You
be
have a
many.
few days to prepare yourself.
Thank you for coming, my friends.
Actually, I believe he gets A, B, and C killed and is caught
Chief
on
Inspector
D.
Jap,
And the letter for
call
C
does not
arrives
bode well.
late because of a delay on the
Indeed,
post.
we have just found the body of a young woman on the beach in Bexhill. An ABC was placed on the body.
we'll be there as soon as possible.
Off we go. Down to Bexhill-on-Sea. Yeah, bathing boxes nearby on the beach.
Bexhill is a delightful town. It would be nice to come back and visit.
I do not entirely agree. Walking at the beach damages my shoes, and it hurts my knee.
So the years have not spared you, my friend. It's the same for all of us.
That is exactly what I said to myself when I saw you back from your travels.
Poirot!
Do not be offended, Hastings. I can see Jap waiting for us. And from his face, I would say that things are not looking good.
The beach would annoy Poirot. Too much sand would irritate him immensely. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. There have been a number of people that have suggested that he is probably suffers from OCD.
How do you do, gentlemen?
Chief Inspector?
I fear your admirer has struck again, Poirot. We haven't yet identified the victim, but it's a young woman, 20 to 25 years old. Death occurred last night between 11:30 and 1 o'clock. And we found an ABC guide on the body.
Was she pretty?
Come on, Poirot, that's rather out of place. It has no bearing on the murder.
Are you certain? For women, it is often the most important thing. It often decides their destiny.
The body hasn't been moved. You can see for yourself.
I don't
Has the press
recall
been
that her
informed?
attractiveness is important to
Not
the
yet,
murder.
but I'm planning to. I haven't yet informed them about the presence of the ABC guide in Andover.
Nobody has reported a young woman missing.
Not for the moment.
No witnesses, I imagine.
Indeed. We've asked everybody who may have met a young woman fitting her description last night to come and see us, but I have little hope of gaining anything from it.
It's early days, Chief Inspector, and the news may not have spread around the town yet.
I hope you're right, Hastings.
There is no doubt about it. Bexhill has one of the most beautiful beaches in the area.
Got little crabs running around, like the little mice before them. I'm wondering if there was a achievement linked to that. So we have a bit of rope, and she was throttled. The last one was killed by a blow to the back of the head. So she has looks like a bathing box key around her wrist. So let's start with
A
the rope.
braided silk belt. It may have belonged to the victim.
Yeah, that would be consistent with what was around her waist.
These marks have been left by a rope or a braided cloth. This key is too small to be one for a house. Without a doubt, it is for a padlock. The guide is open at the page for the Bexhill train times. The young woman wasn't wearing shoes or a coat and was not carrying a bag. That's strange.
So she was, I would say,
Either the
going for a
murderer
swim.
stole her belongings or she put them somewhere safe. Maybe so that she could bath. The young woman wasn't wearing shoes or a coat and was not carrying a bag. That's strange. Either the murderer stole her belongings or she put them somewhere safe.
Oh, we've
Maybe
taken the
so
key.
that she could bath. She was a great beauty. Strange that chap didn't notice it. Apart from the marks on her neck, there are no signs of the struggle. She didn't manage to hit her assailant. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Well, I'm thinking we need a bathing box somewhere along the beach here.
The poor child must have been strangled with his braided belt. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Okay, that was unintended. All right, that's the clue. All right.
The medical officer should confirm that the victim was strangled with her own belt.
That's what I thought. She shows the usual signs of strangulation.
With a little luck, we'll find prints this time.
You are too optimistic, Hastings. Our killer is far too meticulous for that.
So we need to go to bathing box number 6. That's number 9. It's upside down.
A dual locking padlock.
So there was 715 scratched on the door under the notice.
The purse is full. Yet again, we can dismiss theft as the motive for the murder. Here is the watch she must have removed to prevent it from getting wet. A top brand lipstick. She liked to take care of her appearance. As well as a photo of the victim with some company. It could be useful to me. It definitely was here that the victim left her belongings.
Betty Barnard.
Betty's first day at work. Mom is very proud of you. Elizabeth Barnard, 7 August 1931. So, the young lady did have a name starting with B, and she worked as a ginger cat, an establishment that must be slightly further along the beach.
Jap has gone to the police. The victim has been identified and her family had reported her disappearance. She was called?
Elizabeth Barnard, mainly Betty. She worked as a ginger cat at the cafe slightly further along the beach.
But Poirot, how on earth?
Never mind. Do you have her address?
Yes, she lived with her parents on the street leading to the beach, number 22. Shall we go?
You are far too impatient, Hastings. Let the poor people take in the news first. Let us go and visit the cafe where Betty worked.
Seagull. Go to the ginger cat.
There is no doubt about it. Bexhill has one of the most beautiful beaches in the area.
Okay, so we want to go to the ginger cat.
There is no doubt about it. Bexhill has one of the most beautiful beaches in the area.
Yes, yes, yes. Let us move on.
Could it be the same buildings as on the victim's photo?
Okay, we found the wall.
This is definitely where the photo I found in the hut was taken.
Name over the door could have been a giveaway.
This is definitely where the photo I found in the hut was taken.
I'll be with you in a minute, gentlemen.
Something tells me that she's the owner of the ginger cat. This woman must be the owner of the ginger cat. It looks like something is bothering her.
How can I help you?
A hot chocolate and a tea for my friend, please.
I'll bring it straight away.
I need to know the time range during which Betty was working on her own. These are the different waiting staff's bills. Which ones were written by Betty? I should consult the register first. Where is Betty? Betty worked from 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Would she have been alone at any time during her service? Betty worked from 11 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. Would she have been alone at any time during her service? Most probably a single man, a whiskey lover, maybe the murderer. This bill may have been written by Betty. There is probably another one. No, something's not right. Betty was alone at just one of these 2 times. Most probably a family. This bill may have been written by Betty. There is probably another one. Most probably a single man, a whiskey lover. Maybe the murderer? Betty served a family and a man on his own, a whiskey drinker. Maybe the murderer. This information will help me to progress.
What? Gentlemen, what are you doing?
We are searching for clues, mademoiselle. My name is Hercule Poirot. I am a detective, and this is Captain Hastings. Does Betty Barnard work here?
That is correct. She should have been here a while ago. Punctuality is the first rule of politeness.
I fear that Miss Barnard will not be coming today. She has just been found, dead, on the beach a few hundred meters from the cafe.
It's one way to
How
break the
awful.
news.
Poor young thing. What happened?
She appears to have been murdered.
This is most distressing. How this will affect my business, I shudder to think.
What can you tell us about Miss Barnard?
Nothing, absolutely nothing. Miss Barnard was my employee. Her private life was none of my business.
You did know at least that she had a young man.
Indeed.
This photo was found. Is this him?
Yes, that's him all right. But I haven't seen him for some time.
Do you think there may have been some problems between them?
I'm not on those sort of terms with my staff. Now, please excuse me, I have work to do.
The customer who ordered the whiskey might provide us more information. He may have been the last one to see Betty alive.
It is an interesting idea, Hastings. Maybe he is a regular guest. What do you think, mademoiselle?
I don't think so. Our regular guests tend to order tea and cakes. At this time of the year, there are a lot of tourists about you never see again.
That's what I thought. Time to visit Betty's home.
So I'm guessing if I'd asked the right question, which probably would have been to say that young people these days have no morals, to align with how
I have nothing to add on the subject of Miss Bernard. Please convey my condolences to her family.
given she seems very strict, it's possible that she would have provided some more information or given me an ego point if I'd commented on young people having no morals.
What a pity. I don't have any change to make it work.
No name on the back of the photo. Another mirror. Do we preen our mustaches again? Indeed we do. Wonder how many... Oh, and I got an ego point for doing it. Wonder if I have to find every mirror and preen in it.
This is a well-laid table. Nothing is out of place, and above all, no creases.
Hercule would approve of that. He was very precise about things. He was written before the concept of OCD was really
With
common
all these
or
tourists,
known.
these shops must be thriving.
But the traits that he exhibits very much express the concept of OCD. So
this
both
is definitely where the photo I found in the hut was taken.
he is extremely orderly. He gets quite distressed if things are not orderly. He doesn't like to be mocked about his obsessions, and they can be quite distressing to him if they're not met, which is consistent with an OCD diagnosis. Have more gloopy stuff coming up through the vent.
How do you do, mademoiselle? My name is Hercule Poirot.
I know you. You're that detective we hear all about.
I do not know if that is a compliment, but I will take it as one for now. You are Betty's sister, I believe?
Yes. My name is Megan.
Can we come in?
Please do. My parents are at the police station. I doubt they'll be up to speaking to you later.
Do not worry, we will not bother them.
Did you know your sister's plans for yesterday evening?
No. I arrived by train this morning. My parents called me in a panic when they discovered that Betty had disappeared. She went out last night, but she didn't tell them where she was going.
What was your last conversation about?
Her new dress. She wanted a pair of black stockings to go with it. Mother brought her a pair the very day it happened. She was crying. And to think that Betty never even wore them. Poor Mummy.
It's very unfortunate nail polish they have on her.
This gramophone is magnificent. It is a one-off, without a doubt. The Barnard appear to make music a priority in their budget. They're all Miss Modest, but the Barnards are definitely music lovers.
Let's have a quick look
It
upstairs.
would not be polite to visit the house without being invited to do so.
Okay. We won't go upstairs. We will observe Megan and then talk to her.
What is she feeling at the moment? Betty's older sister is not just sad, she is angry. Your sister had a fiancé, I believe?
Yes, he's called Donald Fraser. A very nice man.
Do you know where we might find him?
He works at the estate agent's, Court and Brunskill. Oh, excuse me, I have to answer that.
But of course.
Betty's room is opposite the stairs on the first floor. Feel free to take a look if you think it might be useful.
This young woman is far too clever not to have anything else for us.
Do you think she's hiding something?
That is what I'm trying to find out.
Surely you don't think she did it?
I did not say anything of the sort. But young women always ruin your judgment, Hastings. Who knows, maybe Megan was jealous of her attractive young sister.
I see. She may have had her sights on the inheritance. Or maybe she was in love with Donald Fraser.
We have to study all scenarios, even the most unlikely. But I doubt that Mr. and Mrs. Barnard are rich enough to justify murder. While I try and get Miss Barnard to talk, I would like you to try and find Donald Fraser. It should be easy to find the estate agents where he works. Bring him to the Ginger Cat. I would like to talk with him before the Chief Inspector finds him.
So Hastings is very much Poirot's Watson. Watson as in Holmes and Watson. Though not as clever in his own right. Watson was reasonably smart. He was a doctor. Probably suffered from PTSD. Hastings also served in the First World War, but it's hard to know. He's never really described personality-wise in enough detail to know if he also was sort of damaged by the war. He came back physically intact, and he came back very. He's a stereotype of the bluff with the blusterer.
Also a music lover, the same as her family.
He's a little bit insensitive, tends to play to a particular stereotype. Looks like Betty was a singer.
Without a doubt, Betty used to sing.
Got a mirror. We're going to have ego points and preen our mustache in it. Yes. Yes. Of course. What have we got on the bed? We've got the
A
stockings.
box of new stockings. It looks like Betty has a very busy life.
I wonder if the boyfriend was
She liked
jealous.
luxury and going out. And being as pretty as she was, she probably did not have any problem getting herself invited. Looking at all the clothes she took out, Betty must have had a problem deciding what to wear. Maybe she had a date.
Would it have been uncommon for a woman to have what looks like probably a queen-size bed? In that era, as a single woman, she would have had a single bed, mostly because when people just didn't have beds or rooms, for that matter, that were quite that big. And as a single woman, she would have had no need for a double or queen-size bed, because sex before marriage was heavily frowned upon, if not just not done. She also had laudanum on her
This small
bedside table.
key should be useful to me. I've finished with this subject. Medicine to prevent voice loss. Did Betty have problems with her voice?
Is that the same laudanum from
Something on this clock bothers me. What a strange mechanism. I don't think it serves to turn the hands. The cogs are blocked by these wooden panels. Strange. A sheet of paper is blocked in the clock. This wooden panel is blocked. This metal disc is stuck. There, that's better.
Don't even know what I did different.
This wooden panel is blocked. I can't hope.
It's obviously jammed at the moment, so One of those can't be right.
The cogs are blocked by these wooden panels. The cogs are blocked by these wood. The cogs are blocked by these wooden. The cogs are blocked by these wood. The cogs are blocked by these wood.
There is something in this puzzle I am not getting.
Could the screw be slightly loose? Could the screw be slightly loose? The cogs are blocked by these wooden panels. The cogs are blocked. The cogs are blocked by these. The cogs are blocked by this The cogs are blocked by this wooden. This wooden panel is blocked. Good. It should be possible to open the wooden panel. Look, a key. This could be useful.
Okay, so that's in position 3, that's in position 1, position 2, position 2. So let's try that. All right.
The cogs are blocked by. Ah, something clicked on the front of the clock.
Does that open the other panel? Yes, so we now have a letter
This could be useful.
Hope so. Took a lot of effort to get it.
Betty, I enjoyed a wonderful evening in your company, and I hope that we will see each other again very soon. D. My dearest Betty, I know that your art is already spoken for, but you are the most beautiful dancer I have ever had the pleasure of meeting, and I am impatient to see you again. Adrian.
Well, D could be her fiance. Adrian is obviously someone new.
Betty, I enjoyed. My dearest Betty.
Still things to look at. D is probably Donald Fraser.
A record sleeve with a handwritten title. Betty must have recorded the demo. I'd be interested to hear it.
There is a gramophone downstairs.
record sleeve with a handwritten title. Betty must have recorded a demo.
It's a demo, not a demo.
That doesn't work. I must have forgotten a step. Let us see. What is this cupboard hiding?
Anything on the back of that? Can't turn it over. Okay. There was a code written on that, and the code was 78T.
This looks like solfège.
What is solfège?
This looks like solfège.
I'll have to Google that.
That doesn't work. That doesn't work. It looks like something goes in here. That doesn't work. I must have forgotten a step.
Okay, we need to find a missing bit. What have we got here?
I cannot open it. It looks like the mechanism is blocking it. There is bound to be a clue somewhere.
Okay. So we need to have one of those and two of those to equal one of those.
There is bound to be a clue somewhere. I heard the sound of a mechanism being triggered.
All right, written on the record was 78T. Seems overly complicated way of playing a record. Super secret. You
just have to put the record on the gramophone and start it. It looks like something goes in here. That doesn't work. I must have forgotten a... That doesn't work. I must have...
As I said, a very complicated way of starting up a record player.
Oh, Donald! We're in the middle of recording.
Sorry, Betty, but it's not wise. The doctor said you should rest your voice.
You're such a killjoy sometimes.
Betty was such a good singer.
It's true. Did she have any problem with her throat?
Yes, she had to be careful with her voice. Of course, she didn't follow the doctor's advice. If Don didn't insist, she... Well, it's too late for all that now.
Family photos and files. Family photos and files. Family photos and files. It looks like this woman is single, but she has feelings for someone.
Methinks she fancied Donald.
She is looking so intensely at this photo. But is it really a sister that she's studying in this manner?
There's a couple of clues we still haven't found. So
They made the perfect couple, am I correct?
Yes, in a way. She was pretty and he...
Well?
He's a bright man, with a promising career ahead of him. He would have made Betty a good husband. He was always attentive and generous. Oh, a true gentleman.
I hear a note of envy in your voice.
You must have heard wrong.
mm-hmm.
Donald appeared to be very much in love with your sister.
Yes, he was mad about her.
Mad, you say? Being madly in love can often be destructive, and Mr. Fraser was known for being jealous, I believe.
No more than average. Men are always slightly possessive, especially when they are with a pretty woman.
I am not your enemy, Mademoiselle Bernard.
And you are not my friend either, Mr. Poirot, sir.
Yes, but your lies are not helping Mr. Fraser, or you for that matter. I know that Fraser was jealous, but I wonder why you feel the need to protect him.
Protect him? I hope you're not suggesting...
That you are Fraser's accomplice? There is nothing to suggest that, at least not yet. It would appear that your sister's murder is the second in a series that we have to stop as quickly as possible. The first was in Andover, and the same as your sister, the murderer sent me a letter informing me that a crime would be committed in that town. Now can I count on your honesty?
Yes, you have my confidence, Mr. Poirot.
That's
Don is a
reassuring.
quiet and sensitive young man, slightly reserved too, and as is often the case with reserved people, when he flew into a temper, he completely lost control.
So
He
what we're
could
saying,
be
you
so
repressed his emotions
violent.
and had difficulty
Betty was frightened.
expressing
And
them
when
in a
was this?
productive manner.
The first time was about a year ago, but they rowed more recently. Donald found out that Betty had lied to him. She said she was going out with a girlfriend, but she went out for dinner with a married man. It was an awful scene. She told him that until they were married, she was free to go with whoever she pleased. Donald turned quite pale and started shaking and kept saying one day...
Well?
he'd commit murder.
Not really the bestest of relationships.
So you were afraid that he would become our main suspect. I know that Fraser was jealous, but I wonder why you feel the need to protect him.
Exactly. Had you not told me about the case, I would never have dared to tell you about this little matter. Don loved Betty with all his heart. I can't imagine for one instant that he would hurt her.
Very good, Mademoiselle Bernard. Thank you for your help.
Fraser is at the Ginger Cat. The police haven't spoken to him, but they want to.
Très bien, Hastings. Let's see him now. Au revoir, mademoiselle. My deepest condolences to your parents.
Of course, Mr. Poirot. And don't be too hard on Don. He's more fragile than he looks.
If you say so.
It's interesting. I can't remember
Let
if
us
that
now
was how
try
he was
and get our
described in the
brain cells
books.
to work.
But it's quite a toxic relationship in that respect. It's not not the bestest of behaviours.
Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Oh, let's go look in the mirror and twirl our mustaches. We've got to get our ego points somehow. Twirl, twirl, twirl. Funny angle, he wouldn't be able to see the mirror from that direction. He'd need to stand square in front of it. One clue available. I think we need to go talk to Donald. Plus 13 ego points. He really is a conceited little so-and-so, isn't he? Alright, off to question Donald we go. Keep wanting to... Just looking in the mirror and doing that? Alright. You really do need to find every mirror possible. Most games would, when you finished a scene, would port you to the next one, and this one very much, you've got to walk there.
You've seen Fraser, Hastings. What is your feeling?
He's a big chap. Fragile isn't exactly the word that springs to mind. I talked to his landlady before seeing him. She went to bed at 11. Fraser wasn't home yet.
Bien. Megan Barnard said he is a reserved character but with a nasty temper. We will see if this is the case.
So we're back to the ginger coat. And Donald, not doing so good. Let's see what she has to say on the matter first.
I don't want this young man here. Be quick and do what you must.
I've finished with this subject. What a pity. I don't have any change to make it work. I've finished with this subject. How do you do, Mr. Fraser?
You Hercule Poirot. Mr. Hastings said you wanted to speak to me.
Yes. I know that it may not be the right time, but I would like to ask you a few questions. This man looks suspicious.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Donald Fraser is in a terrible state, as if he hadn't slept all night. And he's drinking White Horse.
Leave me alone. Tell me that it's a mistake. That Betty isn't dead.
Sadly, your lady friend has been murdered, Mr. Fraser.
Oh, Betty, if only you'd listened.
If she had listened to you, she would still be alive. Should I take that to be a confession?
With that sort of thinking, you must send a lot of innocent men to prison. Under different circumstances, I might even find you amusing, sir.
It's no time for amusement, Mr. Fraser. It is time to find your fiance's killer. Did you know what her plans were for the evening?
She said she was having dinner with her sister.
And you believed her?
And why not, sir? She was my fiancée.
That did not stop her from lying to you before. Betty was not a bad girl, but she did like to take advantage of her success with men.
How dare you sully her memory?
I am not interested in memories of her, Mr. Fraser. I am looking for a killer, and I need you to be my closest ally. That is, unless you have something to hide.
Of course I don't.
Très bien. So, what were we saying? Where were you yesterday evening?
I looked everywhere for her, but in vain. When she said she was going to have dinner with her sister on a weekday, I thought it was strange. I tried not to think about it, but I was like a lion in a cage. I was convinced she was lying. So I went round all the restaurants in the town. When I didn't find her, I went to the next town. But nothing. I must have got home about midnight or 1 o'clock.
Did anybody see you?
I don't think so. I didn't talk to anybody. I was so furious.
The branching dialogue in this could be a little better.
I
He
knew
just
I'd find you here,
contradicted
Poirot.
himself.
I thought the victim's young man was here.
Yes, is all yours, Chief Inspector. Let us now try and get our brain cells to work.
Okay. Donald did have a motive, jealousy. He did not have an alibi. Yes, that would be correct. He did not write the letters. Achievement unlocked. Synapse. Turn to the scene of the crime. Okay. I wish I could find a coin to play the jukebox. Is there a coin here anywhere that I can see?
Fraser doesn't have an alibi and he's extremely jealous.
You are very skilled at summing up.
And yet you haven't asked Japp to arrest him.
It is too soon. But I agree, without the letters announcing the crimes, Fraser would already be behind bars. Bon, I think we have enough elements. Let's reconstruct the events at the scene of the crime.
I can't imagine how the murderer wasn't seen, though. Surely she must have struggled.
Let us try and imagine the scene. The killer and the victim are walking on the beach. Miss Betty has a bag, a belt around her waist, and carries her shoes in her hand. Both of them walk slowly to hut number 5. Both of them walk slowly to hut number 6. Miss Betty enters the hut. She leaves without her belongings. Then she hides a code.
The killer tries to remove his victim's belt. She panics and tries to stop him. She runs away, pursued by her assailant.
No, there is no sign of a chase. Things must have happened differently. Let us think again, mon cher.
Okay, so that's what happens if you pick the wrong option. So
The
walk
killer
along.
and the victim are walking on the beach. Miss Betty has a bag, a belt around her waist, and carries her shoes in her hand.
Because they're not sandy. Not that they really
Both
talked
of
about
them
that,
walk slowly to hut number 5.
which is not correct. So they advance.
Both of them walk slowly to hut number 6.
Betty changes.
Miss Betty enters the hut. She leaves without her belongings. Then she hides a code.
So we know it's not take belt. Let's go with advance.
They keep walking. Then she removes her belt.
Why would
The
you do
murderer
that?
moves behind her and then attacks her by surprise. The body falls, lifeless, on the sand.
Everything appears to match the crime scene, mon cher Hastings. That is exactly what happened.
Okay. Seems a very strange thing to do, to remove your belt. If you've changed, why wouldn't you leave the belt behind if you weren't planning on wearing it?
Without the ABC, we might have suspected Mr. Asher and Mr. Fraser. But by timing his crimes, the murderer is making sure he's accused. In a way, it is very generous of him.
Generous? The murderer seduced Betty in order to lure her to the beach and kill her.
Indeed, the young woman was certainly careless, but not stupid enough to follow a stranger.
What are you planning to do, Poirot?
Return to London, mon cher Hastings.
We have a new objective. Go back to London. I noticed before when I was mousing over the car it was an exit, so I suspect that is how we get back to London. Ten ego points.
Right, back to London. There is nothing more for us to do here.
The walrus.
Japp has decided to reveal details to the press. The alphabet murder is now famous.
It is not a bad idea. The more people who know, the greater our chances of finding out something of interest.
Poirot, I have a bad feeling.
Can't remember if in this book there were a couple of amateur sleuths trying to work it out.
Poor Mr. Poirot, not so good at these little criminal matters as you thought yourself, are you? Rather past your prime, perhaps. Let us see if you can do any better this time. This time, it's an easy one. Churston on the 30th. Do try and do something about it. It's a bit dull having it all my own way, you know. Good hunting. Ever yours, ABC.
So if we compare it, definitely the I and the A is...
Good hunting. Did you hear that, Poirot? The murderer seems to be taking it all as a game, a challenge.
It's the 30th, so...
We will strike on
should have...
30th in Churston.
It's
We must
already
warn
the
Scotland
30th.
Yard. No time to lose. We must prepare our suitcases for Churston.
Mon Dieu, it is already 10 o'clock. I will call Scotland Yard immediately.
I can't remember if he delayed it on purpose so that or whether it was an error. Let's just check. We have the main menu, the main menu, the main menu. Oh, that was the main menu. Objectives, call Scotland Yard. Yep, that's fine. I was looking for how many ego points we had. We have the letter. So any
Poor
W's?
Mr. Poirot. Not
Yeah,
so
the
good at these little
W's.
criminal matters as you thought yourself, are you? Rather past your... Daily Flicker, July 30, 1935. ABC affair, no progress. The alphabet murderer is still on the run. Ever since the police found the connection between the Bexhill and Andover affairs, the inquiry has barely progressed. In this issue, we are publishing provocative letters sent by the killer to Hercule Poirot. Unfortunately, they have not yet helped to find him. Daily Flicker, July the 26th, 1935. The Bexhill Horror. Young maid strangled on the beach. Killer struck at midnight. Hello, chap. We received a new letter from ABC in the 10 o'clock post.
Where and when?
In Churston. Today.
Today? I'll inform the population immediately.
I'll check the train times. Call me back.
From memory,
It is not a good time.
the letters, the envelope for that particular letter had
Some cool hair.
had a typo on it, and that's why it was delayed. Prepare to leave. What else do I need?
It is not a good time. Hastings, what you are doing is an absolute disaster. That is no way to pack suitcases.
As I said,
Heavens, we must hurry.
OCD.
We have to get to Churston before the murder.
Hastings' order and method are always necessary, regardless of the circumstances.
Okay,
That is a very,
okay.
very
I'll
Poirot
let
statement.
you back them.
Oh, I'm going to have a fitting
All
puzzle.
the same, it really is a disgrace to leave your belongings in such a mess. Voila! It only took a minute.
Poirot, you were right. I've just consulted the ABC guide. There's no hurry. The next train doesn't leave till 11:45.
You see, there is no need to hurry. We will not be in Churston until tomorrow morning, after the murder.
But why has the murderer warned us so late? It's not what he usually does. Did he do it on purpose?
Very good question, Hastings. We should also compare the letter we have just received with the other two, although I have very little doubt about what we will find. Hastings' photo album. He is very proud of his bag.
Bag in this sense refers to what they captured, they caught while hunting.
We've missed the 6:45 train, but we have plenty of time to catch the night train.
I find it interesting that they've given him a Mondrian style carpet there.
It is not a good time. Poor Mr. Poirot. Not so good at these little criminal matters as you thought yourself, are you? Rather past your prime, perhaps? Let us see if you can do any better this time. This time it is an easy one. Cheston on the 30th. Do try and do something about it. It is a bit dull having it all my own way, you know. Good hunting. Ever yours, ABC. It is not a good time.
You want me to compare the letters?
It is not a good time. It is not a good time. Hastings, it would appear that you are getting slightly thin on top.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
In his haste, Hastings tore the envelope. I lock my revolver in this drawer. I've not used it in a very long time. Right, let us compare this new letter with the second one.
Okay, so we had to find the envelope before we could compare the letters.
Let us examine this more closely. Certain characters in the two letters may have similar defects. Yes, the A appears to be quite unusual. That's right. The A characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects to confirm my theory. Yes, this I is weird. Yes, the I characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. I have to find some other similar defects. The W is not printed properly.
The apostrophe is
Of
wrong
course,
too.
the W characters in the two letters do indeed have the same defects. My theory was right. These two letters
The
were written with
apostrophe
the
is
same
also
typewriter.
obviously different from what it should be.
Let us now try and get our brain cells to work. The letter should have arrived in time. The postmark shows that it was sent 3 days ago. However, our man made a mistake in the address, which explains the delay. All the same, the post office took their time correcting the error.
Come on, Poirot. Your address is not quite as well known as that of Scotland Yard. Poirot, the telephone. It must be Jap.
Making me walk across the room to answer the phone is annoying. They could have
I
done
have
that
some
more
news
efficiently.
from Churchton. Bad news, I'm afraid. Sir Carmichael Clark was murdered while out on his evening walk.
Sir Carmichael Clark. The name is familiar to me.
He was a famous throat specialist, one of the best in London. A wealthy man, he retired to Combside, a beautiful house by the sea. He collected antiques.
Are you going there?
Yes, let's meet on the train.
So I am going to stop there and I'll do another session at another time because I need a break. But I seem to recall that the trying to work out how much spoilers to give away. So the red herring is that the murders are totally random and exist solely to be alphabetical to scratch the itch of whoever the murderer is. The second red herring is that the third letter was accidentally sent to the wrong address. The first two having arrived ahead of time and would have theoretically let Poirot prevent the murder if he could have solved it quickly enough and gotten there, which on the first one is totally unreasonable. He had no information beyond what location, the town that the murder was going to occur in. The second one, he knew the town and probably initials. You could say that Betty was obviously the victim, but on any official registers, her name would have shown up as EB because her name was actually Elizabeth, even though she was known as Betty. So even then, there's a bit, probably wouldn't have been able to stop the murderer on the second one due to insufficient information. On the third one, he's probably getting closer to being able to narrow it down, particularly if the town is a bit smaller. I can't remember if it was or it wasn't. So the fact that the letter arrives late is actually a red herring, and it was intentional on this occasion. There probably was a little bit of a subconscious thing with the whiskey brand matching the name of the building that he put on it, White Horse, rather than the correct name. And that's because this particular murderer has chosen to hide the murder that they wanted to commit in the middle of a series of other unrelated murders to make it appear that the victim was chosen by chance rather than chosen on purpose. So on the next session, we'll play through C. I can't remember if he tries to do a D to try and keep the red herring going and to hide the murder in a series of other murders. And I apologise for anyone who's not read the books or seen the show if I've given away a red herring, but as we're doing a playthrough, that's kind of inevitable. Depending on how I feel, I might play the last chapter through later this evening. Otherwise, it'll probably be Tuesday evening sometime that I play it through. But thanks for watching, and we'll continue this a little later.